Hello again. Here we are back with the story of creation. If you remember, on day 1, God created the light and the dark. On day 2, God created the bubble around the earth. On day 3, God created the land and the plants that came up out of the land to make that greenhouse all full of wonderful things. On day 4, He created the moon, and the stars. On day 5, He created the birds and the fish. On day 6, this is where we start our story today. So we're back in Genesis. Remember, last week we took a little bit of a detour into the book of Job just to talk about the fact that the Bible actually has descriptions of dinosaurs, and we know that God created them, and people and dinosaurs lived at the same time, which is sort of cool to think about, right? Today we're going to go back and sort of pull that all together. And so we're back in day 6. And this is in Genesis 1:24. And it says, "And God said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, livestock, creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind. And it was so. God made the wild animals according to their kind, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God He created him. Male and female He created him. God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, and over every living creature that moves on the ground." Then God said, "I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds of the air, and all the creatures that move on the ground, everything that has breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food." And it was so. And God saw that all He had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the 6th day. So God made all of the animals that move on the ground. The thing I wanted to point out here is not only did He do animals, He also created man and said, "Man, you're going to be in charge of this earth. You need to take care of it." But He also said, I don't know if you noticed, that when God first created the earth, He said, "I give to you and to all the creatures, I give every green plant for food." When God first created the animals, when God first created man, He expected that we would be able to live on the plants that He had provided for us in this wonderful greenhouse He had. Again, God had a perfect and amazing plan, but we're going to hear soon about what happened to that plan, that things got messed up. But originally, when you see the dinosaurs like attacking each other, that wasn't how it was supposed to be. They were supposed to get along and eat plants, not each other. So it's one of those things that we have to remember, that sometimes things don't always go the way God plans, because He gives us a choice, and sometimes our choices are not so good. We'll talk more about that in a couple weeks. But after God had created all the animals, all the things that moved on the ground, He then said, "Thus the earth and the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. By the 7th day God had finished the work He had been doing, so on the 7th day He rested from all His work. And God blessed the 7th day and made it holy, because on it He rested from all the work of creating He had done." Now I have to tell you that there's another verse in the Bible that said God never slumbers, He never sleeps. When it says God rested, I have to believe He didn't rest because He needed to rest. He rested because He knew we would need to rest. That at least once a week we needed to take time to stop and think about Him and realize what a wonderful God He is. Also, we as humans can get a little crazy and a little busy and a little distracted by the whole world. And at least once a week we need to stop and say, enough is enough. We need to be calm. We need to rest. So when kids are little, they don't always like to take naps. They sort of resist that and sort of fight that. And as grown-ups, sometimes we don't want to rest either. But it's really important that we do. God made an example for us and said, "Here, take some time out and let's rest and see all what I have done. Isn't it good? Isn't it amazing?" So that was day 1 through 7, where he talks about the different things that were created. And so to help you remember all the things, on the paper that you have in your kit today, more stickers. Like I said, I've got stickers on this is our 3rd day, and here's all different types of animals, so you can draw your own, and then you can add the where you want to make them live, like in the jungle or in the desert, or wherever you would like to, in trees. You could work it out. And then also, I gave you a snack that's sort of an interesting snack. I gave you these thinking that you could pretend that these were people or animals, but you could sort of use them to remember that God created people too. And then I gave you marshmallows to help you remember that I thought these looked like pillows, to remember that God rested, and he wants us to rest too. That those times of slowing down and remembering how good he is are really important for our hearts and our soul, and we need to do that. So, like I said, the marshmallows to help us to remember to rest just as God did. What a great example he set for us.